All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining the webinar. We're waiting for people to log in. They're just coming in now, so we'll give them maybe a minute or two, and then we'll get started.
I mute it.
Okay, hey everyone, thank you for joining our webisode series today and webinar. And I'm Brad Curtis. I'm with Azidia, and we're going to get started on how to use buying guides to boost customer loyalty and retention. So, as we all know, Google and the other search engines are aligning more and more around searchers' intentions to attract customers and the search engines. E-commerce leaders are increasingly investing in content and data systems to help merchants manage
Okay.
their online activities, attract customers,
Yeah,
and give them an advantage in the marketplace.
just making sure.
So we seem to have a audio issue here. So we're going to take a second to figure that one out. 1 second. Game drives billions in sales each year. We're going to dive into this subject a bit and talk to our content creation and marketing experts, Amanda Frazier and Alok Jain. I'll start with a few introductions. Amanda Frazier is a digital marketing professional with more than a dozen years leading performance-based acquisition marketing programs for companies like Harry and David, CCI Web, and now leading digital marketing here at Azidia. Alok Jain is a speaker, entrepreneur, content marketing strategist, and SEO industry leader, and he's Azidia's CEO. Alok brings over a decade of real-world SEO and content expertise to companies ranging from startups to Fortune 500s. His experience includes senior-level SEO and content marketing positions inside Walmart and eBay. And now with Azidia, he leads our efforts to build large-scale content strategies and solutions for some of the world's biggest e-commerce players. And I'm Brad Curtis. I've been providing technology and service solutions for brands, agencies, and networks for about 25 years. I've sold and run hundreds of e-commerce projects with platform providers such as MarketLive and Magento, and I'm now leading up global accounts here at Azidia. So please reach out to me if you have any questions about our content services following the webinar or would like a demo of our content creation platform. We're going to keep this interactive as we get into the presentation a little bit, ask a few poll questions. that we think will enhance this presentation. We'll also save some time at the end for a few live questions. So please submit your questions either via the chat bar or when you're prompted. So without further fanfare, I'm going to hand the baton over to Amanda, who will take us through our topic today, how to use buying guides to boost customer loyalty and retention. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Brad. Hello, everybody. We're talking about buying guides and how-to content and how they belong in knowledge centers. So those three terms really are going to be used kind of interchangeably throughout this presentation, but we're really talking about they're kind of all the same thing in the expert, authority, customer-centric type of content. Okay, so we're talking about buying guides and how they can build customer loyalty and boost conversion. Today, we're going to be talking about the types of content that work best in knowledge centers, the primary benefits of this type of content, some examples of what to include, some best practices, and then, of course, what not to do, and some tips to get started. These are big initiatives to take on, so we're going to give you some actionable steps at the very end so that you can get started. So why are we talking about this? We are, Ezedia is a content creation platform. We're serving over 70% of the internet retailers' top 10 list. We're really good at creating content. We have a technology-based solution, an in-house trained extended workforce, and we are good at creating content on both really big scales and technical content and content that has a lot of moving parts, especially like this buying guide. Buying guides can be a really hard worker, heavy lifter of your content strategy and your content types, and they really should be included in your 2015 content strategy. So that's why we're talking about it today. So just a look at, since you're all here, at what we're talking about and what we'll be talking about in the future. This will be included in the deck that will circulate after the webinar so that you can sign up for the next. But this is part of our monthly content series where we're covering kind of the basics of content, the importance of specific types of content and how to get started and what's needed and best practices. Okay, so a little, so you can see who you're talking to here. Brad already spoke. Alok is here in the room with me, and that is me, Amanda Frazier. So content strategy, there's like a million different definitions of content strategy, but really it's planning for the creation of content that meets your goals, that meets your needs, that works for you and your marketing initiatives. So Alok recently said when I was asking him for, what works best in content, especially in expert type content. Successful content requires a great story to attract and convert your customers, and you've got to delight your fans so that they talk about you, they keep coming back, they find you useful, they develop that relationship with you. So we often think of the customer purchase path as a really straight line where it starts at awareness and it goes all the way through to purchase and then on to customer loyalty or repurchase. But it's not necessarily a straight line, and there's the knowledge center type content can have influential points all along this process. So I've just pointed out a few places, but we'll dive deeper into it. But in the very beginning, when a customer is looking for or about to make a purchase, they start in kind of the awareness phase. They need something, they have a problem that needs to be solved, and they maybe do a search. So a buying guide is a great place to start there. It shows up. It's well liked by search engines. It's keyword rich content. It's customer centric. It's not usually salesy. It does really well in organic search. So the first place maybe is in a search when a customer starts there. It's helpful. It's considered kind of a helpful, useful type content. So it's often shared. And maybe as they start considering brands or they start looking to their friends and their networks to, what they're using, what products could solve their problem, maybe a buying guide would show up in a social search. They're also, they've got a great ROI attached to them. So buying guides and knowledge centers are great candidates to include in paid placements, paid advertisements. And I'll talk about the ROI further along. They can help in providing some competitive views of our of products. So when you're looking for specific product details, and product guides are showing kind of not just the details of one product, but across many different types of products. It can help in the preference stage. And then, of course, at the end, after purchase, they play a really strong role in customer loyalty, the repurchase rates where you're found useful. The customer has your product. They're probably not going to buy again right now, but they may need something in the future. Maybe your buying guide or your how-to shows them how to better use their product, or how to add on to their product, or how to upgrade next time they're in need, or they used it so much they need a replacement. Buying guides can influence post-purchase. So really, the customer journey looks a little more like this. When you're looking for, let's say, a TV in this case, the touch points are really complex. They can include, having coffee with your friend, or looking at something on TV, or seeing something in the store, or there's, dozens. This only represents just a few of them, but there's dozens of touch points as you go through as a customer goes through their journey. So more customers are starting to research, or not starting, more customers are researching before completing a purchase. So 60% of global internet shoppers research products online. More than 80% of online shoppers in the US begin shopping with research. And research can include, social media questions. It could include a search on a search engine. It can include all kinds of things. Digital resources dominate the path to purchase. That can be anything from a website, or an app, or a recommendation, or a review, or a guide, or among many other things. 36% of consumers spend more than 30 minutes comparison shopping before making a decision. That's a lot of time. We don't have the granular view of what they actually do in that 30 minutes, but we have pretty good ideas of what the research includes, what they include in their research. 40% of online shoppers say they consult online reviews before purchasing. And online reviews can be anything from, a specific website where they host their own customer reviews, to review sites where they're kind of branded different. And then last is 65% of consumers spend 16 or more minutes. So that's a lot. That's double than the 30-minute group. But 16 minutes is quite a lot of time in looking around before you make the purchase. So the benefits of all that customer research is shown here, and I'll go through it kind of left to right here. So if we look at the average order value by days that it takes for a customer to go through the purchase path, we can see that 50% of the revenue comes from purchases that take more than 1 day to complete. And the more days a customer spends in researching, the higher the average order is. So if you see on the graph here on the left, the bottom is the number of days, and the left is the average order. And you can see a lift right off the day one, a little lift, and then it goes kind of steadies out and goes across to about day, let's say 25 or 26, and then you see another little lift there where somebody's been really in research for a long time, and they now know the benefits of maybe spending a little bit more, maybe going after a product that they weren't first considering, and that all happened during research. And the second point here is steps. So the number of steps that a consumer takes during their purchase path, the higher the number, the higher the average order. So steps can include things like actions taken online, so opening an email, conducting a search online on a search engine, asking their friends on Facebook. Those are all considered steps. 66% of revenue comes from purchases that the customer took more than one day and more than one step to complete. So you can see from day one, I mean, it's a rise initially, and then a couple kind of dips and rises again as the steps go on. So the sweet spot is about step 24, and that could be, you know, 12 different steps a couple times. It could include all kinds of things, but as people research, the more research they do, the more money they spend on their purchase. So we're talking about buying guides and how that plays a role in the research. So influencing your customer's purchase path with buying guides and how-to content organized in knowledge centers is a way to kind of get in the consideration set really early and stay in their consideration set throughout the process. If you wait until your customer is ready to purchase, you'll never convert your audience. You'll never find them, and you'll never connect with them. Retailers are engaging with their customers much earlier in the process than they ever have before. So buying guides, they support new and existing customers. They support customer acquisition. They support customer loyalty. And I'm going to talk a little bit about how they do that. But first, I'm going to ask you a question. So how many buying guides or expert type content do you have published today? And you can select one of those: 0, less than 10, less than 50, less than 250, or more than 250. I'll give you a few more seconds to get in your vote. Okay, I'm going to share those results with you. So it looks like 40% of you have less than 10. Oh, that's good. And 20% of you have more than 250. That's awesome. Okay, good. So we're going to be talking about today not just creating the knowledge center content, but also how it works best at scale, where these guys are doing it at 250 guides or more, and that's where really they get into their stride of performance. So on the left, I have how these buying guides can support customer acquisition and new customers. Oh, sorry. I did not take away my results. Okay, there you go. Okay, so they can build awareness. They are very visible. They're shareable. They carry some perceived value with them. So as a customer comes across this helpful content, you get considered in their consideration set. They play a really important role in the information gathering stage, where guides include loads of product and competitive details. So it's not just why you should buy this pair of Nike shoes, but why you should buy any number of running shoes in this category. And then they also influence the consideration. So it engages the customer during that consideration phase, where it's really important to get in front of them, but it's also really important to be deemed really useful and helpful. And this type of content does that. It also supports the loyal customers and the customers post purchase. It delights them. It gives them some additional product info. It gives them additional access to the company. We're giving you information. You're giving us back, feedback or whatever's happening with you and your product and your recent purchase. It gives them some education and some reinforcement through the post-purchase information. It could include how to best use your product, how to maintain your product, some replacement parts if you ever need those, customer forums, user forums, and then best uses. And that could be in all kinds of forms of content with, from multimedia to more blog-like words on a page. And then the last is the repurchase piece, which is just as important as the first conversion. And that is, it encourages loyalty. It encourages, fans of your company, and it puts you in front of them as they need upgrades and replacements and additional products. So there's, like I said in the beginning, 3 types of content that are included in knowledge centers, or most commonly included in knowledge centers. The first is the buying guide. That is a piece of content that features kind of everything around a product, but the point of a buying guide is the buy now buttons are really important, as are product details in general, and product comparisons. So you're showing off a category of products, and you're giving them all the information they need to make that decision, everything from kind of your top sellers to how to make the right decision, maybe an offer or targeted offer, and of course the buy now buttons. The how-to content is here, and this one's about binoculars in the middle. And that is really featuring your expert authority voice. It can come from somebody in your company. It can come from, if you have like super users or super customers, it can come from them as well. And it focuses in on how to use the product, customer reviews, forum discussions. The Shop Now buttons are generally more hidden here, or maybe it's not a product-specific Shop Now or Buy Now, but a link to a category somewhere hidden. So this is REI's how-to guide. This is about binoculars, and it's how to choose binoculars. And then it's got some more information on the right here that's all about, how do you, what type of binoculars do you need, and how do you find the right fit, and what do customers think of these binoculars, set of binoculars. It's not really product specific, but it's getting you down the path of, you need binoculars, and here's where you should start with this expert information. And then the far right is the third kind of content that we include in kind of the Knowledge Center types, and that is a product finder. And I've given the example of Walmart here. They're using product finders to really help you kind of narrow your the category that you're looking in. So on the left, and these are really small, but on the left you see like a dozen options, and those are all search filters, on-site search filters, where you can search by price and brand and product feature. So you can say, I want a flat screen TV. I want it to be 30 inches. I want it to be, under $400 or whatever that is. And then, this page dynamically lists the products that fit within those parameters. The buy now buttons are really important. These are, somebody has already done tons of research. They already know they want a flat screen TV. They already know they want to spend a specific amount of money, and they're looking specifically for a solution that fits within their parameters. So what goes into a good buying guide? I've looked at, here I'm looking at overstock above the fold on the left and then below the fold on the right, so I can get it big enough to show you. So there could be dozens of things that contribute to a really good buying guide, but it includes some of the basics like a really clear title. You got to make it shareable. Include top selling products, include really smart design. User experience here is really important. A little bit of, customer focused content. And then below the fold, some lifestyle kind of compelling product images. The product may be in use or in more of a natural setting. Some information on how to make the choice, some tips to make the decision. Here in the middle is content tips for product use, and this is saying like the visual distance for TV placement and the size of the screen. And then some product suggestions. I think there was products at the top as well, but product suggestions on the right. So if you're, if you don't like any of the options at the top, there's some more. So here's some of my favorite examples as I was looking around at what some retailers are doing with buying guides specifically. So Flipkart is on the left. This is a big retailer in India. They have a great content organization, and you can see some of these buying guides get really long and you scroll for a long time. They get really long, and they have really easy links here that navigate you down to a specific page or a specific part of the page so that you can get there quickly. You don't have to scroll through a bunch of stuff. I like their organization. I like their really simple design. They don't have any lifestyle images. I didn't see any product images on this specific one. There may be some many product images used on others, but they didn't have any lifestyle images. I'd like to see, somebody, this is a washing machine one, maybe somebody, how the washing machine looks in the laundry room or how it looks in, wherever, for scope and perspective. The middle one is eBay. They take a really unique approach to buying guides. So eBay, puts out thousands of buying guides and sees what sticks and measures performance pretty quickly. So they create buying guides on every category and every subcategory of products, and then give them a year, and whatever's not resonating with their audience or showing some signs of visitors and customer attraction, then they cut those and they go on to the next group. The good is that their buying guides have a ton of content. The bad is that they don't have much page design here. It's really a lot of words on a page. There really aren't that many images. There aren't any products to buy. There's some links to get to products, but that's it. Giggle is a baby store and a baby infant store. I like their site a lot. The good is they include some really great info, some really expertise, authority type info where this person is talking about gear guides for your new baby. They made it downloadable. I said, yay. I was so excited to see it was downloadable because you can imagine that somebody that's doing this much research may take this with them when they shop shop for this product in the store, or they take it with them because they don't want to flip back and forth on their screens on their computer. And it just makes it so much easier if you can have in this type of content, you're really using it in your research process. It's downloadable. They also didn't have any images, and they had no shoppable products here on this guide, but they had a lot of good things as well. A couple other non-e-commerce examples and how-tos. And it looks like I need to speed up because it's almost 1:30. Life insurance. They have how to buy life insurance, NAIC, which is a organization for life insurance. They have great content. They have really simple design. They have this huge watermark across that's really distracting. I thought that was unnecessary. The middle is Lowe's Home Improvement. It's all about how to mow your lawn correctly. And it's not necessarily, it falls into the how-to content instead of a buying guide. So instead of taking the approach of the best lawnmowers, they're taking the approach of what do you do with that lawnmower and how to do it correctly. So the good was they had multimedia content. They had videos about how to mow your lawn. They had information about what types of grass and the types of mowers that work the best and the length. They didn't have very many product links. They had no call to actions. They didn't have a downloadable option. I would want to download this and bring it with me to look at lawnmowers, but this was really great use of how-to guide. And then backcountry, they were doing how to choose the right hiking shoes. I think the same goes for them. I would imagine that, they're recommending that you would go into the store and actually try on hiking shoes and find the best fit and get measured and all that. This isn't downloadable though, which is unfortunate, but it has really great information. It has really strong authority, great expertise. It has links for more where you can find all kinds of stuff about hiking and gear, and it wasn't downloadable. Okay, so now all about the benefits and great stuff of buying guides. But to create a buying guide is like a whole nother ball of wax. So we just put together kind of the stages here of what it takes to create a buying guide. A lot of times this lands onto one or more teams. where a team would be in charge of recommending the products, and a team would be in charge of the development and the look and feel of the buying guide or the knowledge center. But there are dozens of steps in here. This is where, of course, we're talking about it because we are the platform that supports all of this. But we're talking about content infrastructure and what's really needed to create this type of content where you have to plan for it. You have to plan the content. You have to create the content. You have to define the look and feel and the design. And then there's this technology component where it's got to be hosted somewhere on your website, and you're mostly an e-commerce company, so you have to figure out where that goes. All the way down to testing and usability and final approval from merchant teams and marketing teams and design teams. It's really a complex type of content. So it's time for my third question. Oh, I might have skipped a question. Darn. Okay. I'm going to ask it now anyway, so I'm going to ask you my second question. What is your biggest challenge in creating knowledge center content? Is it budget, time, content, actually creating the content, IT support, or design? Okay, I'm going to close the poll, and I'll share the results. So 75% of you say time, 25% content, 25% IT support. Nobody's saying budget or design. That's surprising, but that's really good. Thanks for answering that. Okay, so my second question is kind of related. Maybe that's good that I forgot the second one. If buying guides are part of your content strategy in 2015, what's the primary reason that you're not doing them? You don't have the budget to create it. You don't have the infrastructure to publish and host it. You don't have the team to create the content. You didn't know the value and the benefits of it. Kind of piggybacks on the first one, on the question that I just asked in a different way. What we're really after here is the team that it takes and the infrastructure that it takes. And that's what we'll be talking about next. Okay, I'm going to close the poll there. Okay, so 2/3 of you say you don't have the team to create the content, and a third say you don't have the infrastructure. Okay, that's great. Thank you. So to produce a buying guide, we've boiled it down to 3 major steps. One is find the content or find the products that you need to support in buying guides. Where do you start? With keyword research is generally where we start. We like these 4 tools, but there's lots of other tools out there that you might be using where you're looking for data of keyword searches and those kinds of things where you can see what are your most popular products, but also what customers are looking for. The second is, create the scalable process where you create the standards, the style, the templates, the guidelines, the process, the workflow of who's in charge of what. Are merchants in charge of picking the products, or is the marketing team in charge of picking the products that are featured there? And then the last is the test, sell, and then reiterate, evolve. So we'll start with collecting data. So we often start by identifying keywords, topics, themes to create the guides around. I am using examples from Google here and Google keyword ideas and the AdWords planner, but there's a couple other tools, and I mentioned them in the slide before, that will give you similar data. So first, you build a list of possible keywords and topics to build your guide around. So you can start, you can get that data from your inbound search terms. How are customers finding you now? You can borrow those terms from your competitor. You can get keywords from your taxonomy. How is your taxonomy set up, and what's most important in your site? Social trends, if social trends show you that we're not looking for running shoes anymore, we're looking for something else, then call it something else. Events and holidays, I think this is good for the guides where you're talking about gift guides or Mother's Day guides or whatever, specific, maybe even the lawnmower guide around the seasonal event. And then customer reviews, customer questions. Those are a gold mine of data of what your customer is looking for, especially in product details, and that can drive your topic choice. So once you have a huge list, hopefully a huge list of terms and topic ideas, you get to refining. Using the keyword tool planner, here's what I've done. First I eliminate all the keywords that don't fit the brand voice, that don't fit my goal. Maybe customers are looking for them, but it doesn't match up with who I am as a company. I group together those keywords by average monthly search volume and then competition. So that I can make a plan based on groups of themes or topics. I can create those themes or topics out of groups of keywords. So I'm looking for, let's say, those terms first that are high in average monthly searches. So we know lots of people are looking for them, and they have kind of a medium competition. I'm fairly confident that I can get these buying guides on page 1 of a search engine's results page, or something like that. You can also take other approaches. I mentioned high AMS and high competition. If you are already well optimized and well indexed, and you're confident you can get to page 1 quickly, you can go after those higher terms as well. Okay, so once you have the themes and the terms all set up and chosen, you map your content ideas to your personas. So building customer personas by researching who your current customers are and kind of assigning like a persona to them, or a grouping them together and who they are, and giving some personality to your customer groups. So 75% of consumers prefer when brands personalize their marketing messages and offers. They want to know, as a shopper online, I'm a woman, I am a mom, and I don't want to necessarily be served ads that are, or content that isn't relevant to me. It works best if it is. So I'm part of that, I'd say 75%. So creating a detailed picture of your target audience will help you create who those personas are. You can identify kind of who your ideal customer is, who your prospect is, what they're looking for, how your product will help them. So if you go through kind of these top 4 questions or top 4 points, then you can, sorry, my updates are showing me. If you go through kind of these 4 stages of identifying your personas, then you can get pretty close to finding your customer personalities and matching those with the key terms that you defined in the data in the first step. So once you've created the guide, you know now that you need to create, let's take the binoculars example. Lots of people need binoculars. They are a harder purchase. They require some research. You've done your research. You've gone through your keyword terms of what people are looking for. You know your personas and who would be looking for that. Let's say avid bird watchers, maybe some parents, so they want to keep their eye on their kitten. I'm kidding. And so now you've created your guide, and you need to measure it. And you need to measure it pretty quickly, and then long term as well. Here's some KPIs that we keep an eye on. Visitors, what the guide is driving to your site. Conversion, how the guide affects conversion, but also conversion from the guide, directly from the guide. Average order, directly from the guide. Visitors from the guide who are making the purchases, are their average orders better or worse, higher or lower than the average of the rest of your site? And reach. Good content gets a lot of love in social media and among word of mouth marketing, and it's a really good indicator of how good the content is, how helpful it is, and whether it's liked or not. I have an example here on the left of Lowe's buying guides. This is actually their kind of collection of buying guides. I'll call it a knowledge center, but it's just their buying guides. They cover every topic. They have dozens of them. Oh, I missed my fourth question. I have one more question to ask you. Okay. This is a kind of a funny question because we're asking because we're interested in knowing what it takes for you to achieve a healthy mix of content in your strategy. How much budget should be allocated to expert type content, the type of content that we're talking about here? No more than 5%, no more than 10%, no more than 25%, no more than 50%. Okay, I'm going to close the poll and share the results. So evenly spread, definitely under, no more than 50%. Yeah, good. Okay, I'm going to turn it over to Alok. He's going to talk a little bit about measuring buying guides, KPIs, and ROIs.
All right. Thanks, Amanda. And since we are almost to the time, so I will be quick here. So again, the KPI, it's different for a different organization. Some organizations are more visit and traffic focused, others are more conversion focused. Of course, when you think about buying guides, this really is one of the most lovable content by SEO, social, and other channels. So really, I mean, this is like one of the unbiased content which has a huge shareability and visibility on the secondary screen, basically through social shares and so on. So I'll speak first organic numbers in terms of KPIs, what you are expecting, and then might be touch a little bit on the social. So if you do it right and if you build a right number of links, and I'm aggregating over a few hundred guides. So in terms of visits, you can expect a good buying guide should get you on an average 2 to 4 visits per day per guide. In terms of conversion, as Amanda has shown before, the entry traffic through SEO converts better through the buying guides because now the customers are more educated, and what we have seen more and more that their average order size is up to 50% higher. um, uh, uh, in terms of conversion, the conversion in general, if it is hooked up pretty well with e-commerce, the conversion we see 0.5%. Then the conversion pages that when I say conversion pages, I'm talking about like more product description and category pages copy. But if you really do a rock solid job with e-commerce hookups like richer relevance, showing them products, having the links which take them to category pages or part product pages, you can even see better conversion. In terms of reach, as I said, like the organic numbers, and I will continue to talk a little bit more organic numbers on the second slide. But again, the reach is like really becomes like a lot of impressions. And if a truck passed by and that has a Coca-Cola ad, how to measure it? So buying guide also becomes another asset like that, where uh, due to the social share and all that, some of it is really not exactly measurable. But looking at the secondary screen, the ROI and overall traffic and long term impact is huge. So this is definitely one of the content which all SEOs are advising, and especially if you go for things like building links. This is the content. If you have a lot, this will be safer content which will not get you in trouble. Thank you. So again, when you think about measuring it and when you will get the ROI on the buying guide initiatives. So you are really trying to build authority in the market. You want to become subject matter experts no matter what subject you are touching. And these buying guides, the way the content is organized, the content is evergreen in nature. Of course, in content world and SEO world, nothing is called evergreen. But whenever we think buying guides, we think 12 to 18 months, 2 year span. Um, Good buying guide, as I said, will start with 2 to 4 visits per day. It can go as high as 5 or 6 visits from SEO channel. Then you look at the lift in average order size, put a year and a half to 2 year of lifespan. You see at least 10x ROS through organic channels. Of course, if you put the secondary screen, then the ROS becomes a lot higher. So I think that there is pretty good ROI. The content can be a little bit more expensive, but I think it pays in long term. So this is my last slide on KPI. So again, as I said, this is more a marathon. It's not really a sprint. So in first 3 to 4 months, you will just start seeing 1 to 2 visits per day per guide. Given that you have given good enough links from homepage and other places. But at the end of 6 months, you can start seeing anywhere from 2 to 3 or 2 to 4 organic visits. We already touched the ROS number. In terms of scale, this is a content which really need scale. So if you really want to touch multiple pieces, and as I said before in my other webinars, that you really kind of need to build the full tree or the whole tree. You need to build various branches if you really want to establish yourself as a subject matter expert in the market. Then really you need a scale just to nail this piece. So I'll stop there and give it back to Amanda.
So we'll take a few questions. I know we are 1 minute over what we said we were going to be, but if there are any questions out there, feel free to submit. So one of the questions is, how much do buying guides cost to produce? I'll let Brad take that on.
Well, everything's a subject matter. Really, it's about subject matter, volume, and word count. So it can be anywhere. These are usually higher level writers, and because they last a lot longer time and are designed to be a little more evergreen, we do recommend them being refreshed maybe every 6 to 12 months, but they can live on the site from anywhere from 2 to 3 years. But they will usually fall into somewhere we would recommend a budget of anywhere between $100 and $400, depending on word count and the volume that you're talking about. So most of the companies we work with are actually producing in volumes of well above 1,000 pieces of content. So many guides go into a knowledge center. So that's really the answer.
A few questions about how to get the deck after this call. I'll send out an email since you guys are all here. I have your contact information, and I'll send a link. We'll post it online so that you can look through it and share it and download it and whatever. That will all be available shortly. Okay, another question. How would I make sure that hundreds of buying guides, if I did hundreds of buying guides, they would all look and feel the same?
Yeah, so that's a pretty easy one. Actually, is before you start a buying guide project, I think we showed in one of the slides actually is gather your data, right? And then the second part of the slide was build guidelines. So everything we do is really understanding with the companies you're working with. Get a brand identity standards manual. They have a lot of people have visual standards manuals you can pull from, and then actually add to that and add a textual standards guideline to that information. Many content developers today or content evangelists within these companies have textual guidelines. But if they don't, we always recommend building them. In fact, we won't do a project without having them. So we will build content standards, and that's everything from meeting with the stakeholders within the organization and understanding what their keyword saturation should be, what's the voice of that company, how do they communicate to their customers, all that stuff that's very, very important, especially to brands like a Williams Sonoma or Pottery Barn or somebody like that that's very high tone brand. They care very much about how their brand is communicated out to the outside world. So creating these standards is crucial, and then getting the brand folks within those organizations to sign off on those standards, and then you can start creating the consistency from there.
Cool. Thanks, Brad. What do I do if I don't have any infrastructure to build these things? I'll let Olak speak to that.
All right. So that's a good question, and pretty much 1 in 3 customer has that issue, and that's what pretty much we have seen in the poll. That what about if I don't have infrastructure, and especially if you are working for a large company, building those infrastructure can be a year-long project. So we have a solution where we build these buying guides by replicating your look and feel. We'll take your header and footer, we'll put together all the menu, all the taxonomy and structure. There is a way we can also hook up your richer relevance. And then by DNS mapping, we can present pretty much the site belongs to you. So all the SEO link juice comes to you, but we can give you pretty much end-to-end ready to go solution. So those solutions are available. And yeah, I mean, I'm happy to connect you with Brad. So if you have any more question on that.
Awesome. Okay, we're gonna wrap this up. We're a couple minutes over past our time here. Thanks for joining us today. We will send the link out to this presentation shortly, so you guys can all have it for your own reference. And look forward to seeing you in March for our series as it continues through Content Basics. Thanks so much.